Hey everybody, this is Charlie Musselwhite, and you're listening to Athena After Dark. I ain't lying. Thank you, baby.
Hey everybody, welcome to Athena After Dark. Thanks for being here and joining us. Oh my goodness, what a great week we've had. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week too. 2024 is off to a great start, and we have a great guest tonight and great stuff to talk about. So let's kickstart this baby and get it rolling. All right, we're going to start out tonight. Instead of fan five good things, we're going to do five good things because this is home of the five good things. You know, if you're having a bad day, just go ahead, tell yourself five good things. Or if someone else having a bad day, tell them five good things. All right. Be kind to yourself and others. It matters. Share a smile with a stranger. It'll change your day and theirs. Help someone who needs it, even if you need help. Somehow or another, that always seems to come back around. Find joy in one small thing every day. That's super important for your soul. And then remember to spread your sunshine, even on the rainy days. So exciting. I'm so glad everybody's here tonight. All righty. Okay, so we have a fantastic guest. Miss Tamara Robertson is with us. She is officially a Mythbuster. So we're going to go through our couple little segments, and we're going to get right to the guests because you guys know I love my guests. All right, so upcoming events for 2024. So we have the Mile Zero Fest. That is in Key West, January 23rd through 27th. It is a country western singer-songwriter event. It is a festival beyond all festivals. If you are buried in snow and want to get out, bring your motorcycle down and go for a ride, this is something fun to do. And we're sending our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers out to everybody in the horrible weather. My daughter just had a tornado go right past her house, so 2 houses down. All right, so next event, and it is January 27th. It is local here. It's the Dania Beach Vintage Motorcycle Show. It's the Everglades chapter of the AMCA. And boy, what an awesome event this is. You can find it, the information, any more of it, if you want to enter your shows or anything like that. The address is on the web, is on the page right in front of you. Thank you, honey. I love you. You're so good. He's doing a good job over there. Kudos to Don, motorcycle mechanic turned production. All right. So next event after that. Okay. So 2 sides of the coast. So we have the David Mann Chopper Fest going on February 11th in Ventura, California. And you can go out and see Miss Songbird, Jennifer Santalucci, and Mondo Paris from Denver's Choppers. And then if you're on the other side of the country and you really want a great show to go to, Cycle Showcase in St. Louis. And that's February 10th and 11th at the Moto Museum. Randy puts on a great show. Have to see it. It is so eclectic and awesome. It's fantastic. All right. And then, of course, we got it coming up. We're in the crunch, right, babe? So March 1st through the 10th. Okay, save the date for Daytona. Now, I personally will be at the Flying Piston benefit, and that supports all kids bike. I am building a Stasic bike, customizing it. The address is on the page if you want to get your tickets there at theflyingpistonbenefit.com. And come out and see us. All the builders will be there. There's like 5 other builders who are building bicycles or customizing bicycles, and all the proceeds will go to all kids bikes and motorcyclemission.org. So veterans and kids, and it's a wonderful event. You get to meet all the builders. So if you're in Daytona and you want to kick off Bike Week the right way, come out and join us. Okay, and then after that, we have the Biker Bells, Wednesday, March 6th, 9 a.m. Kickstands are up. All right, ladies, come out and join us. It is a fantastic ride through Daytona. You can go ahead and get your tickets at the web address on the screen there. And remember, guys, come out and support your girls. It's not just a ladies' ride. It is for the ladies, but you guys are welcome to come and ride along. We love it. The more, the merrier. And then after that, the reason to be in Daytona, Willie's Tropical Tattoo, Ormond Beach, the Chopper Time Old School Chopper Show. And that's March 7th, and that's 11 to 4. Don and I will be out there along with all the Cycle Source crew and builders and the home do-it-yourselfers, and boy, howdy, and the machines that go out to that show are absolutely off the chain. So it's the place to be. All right, get there early so you can find a place to put in your where you're going to find a place to park your whatever you ride if you're not in the show. But come out and show your motorcycles. All right, and then the end of March, the 3rd weekend in March, Donnie Smith annual 35th annual show. Don's been busting me on all day because I've been going through my run through, and I say anniversary every time, but it's the 35th annual, and it's the Midwest Extravaganza, and it's in St. Paul, Minnesota at the River Center. Got to be there. It is. We're going to be there this year. I'm so excited because he's one of my heroes, and his girl is one of my. She's part of my heart. I love Miss Dawn. Okay, and then after that, now tickets are on sale. But if you go to the web address on the screen, motorcyclesandmusic.com, it is the Tennessee Motorcycle and Music Revival. Okay, so it is May 16th through 19th, and if they're still available and you use code HD Hero at the checkout with your military ID, they're giving away 500 free military passes. This is going to be off the chain. I mean, this is an event that we definitely want to be at. We're going to be building a bike for the Bling Cycle Show. So it's an invitational with Bill Dodge. We're super excited about that. Hi, Dennis. I see you. Glad to see you guys all out there. Okay. So just so you know, we're going to add a few in between there. In April, here locally, we have the Iron Goddess Show, and this is an all-ladies show. Hi, Walt. I see you. Good evening. And it's a national show, but we're going to have one here, so I'm excited. The ladies there really have it going on, and I'm excited because I've never actually been to an all-ladies motorcycle show that wasn't like in Daytona or anything like that. So, all right. Okay, so when we have guests, I always tell everybody to send pictures that they like, and then I also tell them to give us any charities that they support or work with. And we will put these charities up on our webpage also as some of our favorite charities. But tonight, Ms. Tamara asked me to go ahead and promote spots where you can donate to the 3 charities that she likes. So we're going to put this up here, a dose of goodwill. All right, so Jesse Combs Foundation. All right, so we're just going to start off with saying that Jesse Combs, for those of you who don't know who she is, there's a Cinemax original movie about her, The Fastest Woman on Earth. She grew up in the Black Hills in South Dakota, and she wanted always to be a race car driver. She absolutely did so much more and beyond, and was killed in a terrible accident while she was doing what she loved, going as fast as humanly possible. So they do scholarships for young ladies. You have to check out the website and go to Jesse Combs Foundation, mybigcommerce.com/donate, and you can get your stuff there. And also, this is a fantastic one. It's magicwheelchair.org. So Magic Wheelchair makes epic costumes for kids in wheelchairs at no cost to their families. How freaking cool is that? That is, I'm all about that. I make Halloween costumes, and I love Halloween costumes. So I want to see if I can get in on that for sure. If there's a way I can be a part of that, I'd love to. And then she has the SWE.org support. Now, this is the Society of Women Engineers. Our guest tonight is incredible, but this program is so incredible. They do so much stuff. They have a K-12 outreach program for girls. So it's just amazing. So if you go ahead and check out those web addresses, you can always rewind after you watch this and go back and donate, buy merchandise, whatever you can. It's greatly appreciated, and it goes for a good cause. Hi, Miss Kelly. I see you out there. All right. So now we're just going to quickly have a little shout out to our sponsors and our friends. Excuse me. All right. Techno Research, Viking Bags, BikerNet.com, CycleSource, Biker Lives Matter, Paco, SNS, Miss Maggie, South Country Inn. That's the place to stay in Daytona. She books up fast, but if you really want to feel like you are a rock star staying at Bike Week, that is even off season. And she's open during off season a lot more than during rallies, but go ahead and give it a shot, because I promise you will not be disappointed. And then an hour before our show, you can go to Open Road Radio and see Miss Gina Woods. She always has great guests. Chopper, Chicago Motorcycle Supply, Willie's Tropical Tattoo, Chopper Time, SNS, Baker Drivetrain. Go ahead and check out the official Baker Drivetrain official page on Facebook. Bert's doing some really cool stuff with some side covers. He's just keeping it real, and I love it. Farm Life Creamery, Miss Laura Clock. Absolutely. Go ahead and get on there and buy some cheese, buy some stuff. She has phenomenal stuff. It's great. Our friends at Tobacco Road Harley Davidson, Biker Bells, of course. And then like Don says, you want to wash it all down with a Twisted Tea original. So yeah, make sure you support those who support what we do in our world. It's fantastic, and we're grateful for them. All right, we're going to get to some pictures of our guests. You know, I like to show the pictures first, and I'm going to read some stuff. Okay, this is Miss Tamara Robertson. So she's a chemical and biomolecular engineer. She got her degree from North Carolina State University. She did a decade of plant design, vaccine development, additive development, and packaging design before moving into a role as an engineering consultant so she could pursue outreach and science communication full time in 2015. Okay. So this lady, she does it all. So when I tell you, she's a huge STEM advocate. There she is with the crash dummy. Now, in the other picture, in her red jumpsuit and her welding hat, that's how I met her. She was in Sturgis. She works with the Jesse Combs Foundation. I believe she's on the board of directors. Just a phenomenal young lady who she inspires me. I don't want to swear in case any of her viewers, because she is also a Mythbuster. She does Mythbusters Junior. So a lot of stuff. Okay, so this is one that I think is really cool, and we're going to talk about it. She has Seekers of Science comic book series. She's also a maker. So we're going to talk about what that is. Look at her there. She's making stuff. Look at that chainsaw, as tall as she is. That is so super cool. She's passionate about talking to the kids across the nation about the exciting world of science and showcasing to them that where their journey started doesn't define where it ends. Look at her. She is definitely an adventurer.
Oh, buffalo.
Yeah, there's buffalo. She had bison chasing her, I think, around. Now look, she's on a camel, and that's the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. Like,
It's a tall camel.
that is the tall camel. You're funny. Look at the Mount Kilimanjaro, like, and she's got a cake in her hand. I can't see it. It says some kind of cake. It's so funny. It's like you get to the top, you need a snack. That was a hard trek there. We're going to talk about all that. It's so funny. Yeah. And then more pictures here. She's taking the dog on an adventure. And this is her and her one of her best friends, Tracy, who works for NOAA. They're doing off the chain science stuff. We're going to talk about more of that. They also have a STEM camp in Florida, which I think is so cool. This is her on Mythbusters, and she's blowing stuff up for a living. What a job. Yeah, there she goes. You gotta love it. Like, who doesn't want that job? But she fits perfectly for it. There's the rest of the crash test dummy after. That's so cool. You have a job playing with crash test dummies. I think it's cool. And look at the excitement. She's measuring stuff and making stuff and, about ready to blow stuff up. And she's all excited about it. I mean, I get excited when I'm around her. So now here's her with some young ladies. They got some flame going on there. I'm sure we'll go back to that picture. And this green thing, it's just growing to the ceiling. So, and that is some kind of expo that she's at. I can't really read it because I don't have my glasses on. I'm squinting, but we'll talk about all this stuff. And this is her with the ladies from Jesse Combs Foundation. I can tell I have my polka dot bandana. So it's awesome. I have it. I'll show you guys in a minute because I just peeled it off my motorcycle it was tied to. All right, next picture. There's more. See, and they're inspiring young girls. Jesse Combs Foundation, all the things that they do. She's just an incredible woman, and everyone that she works with, you talk about incredible. It's just insurmountable the amount of talent that just goes on. And look at that. I mean, she makes stuff and plays stuff that looks like that. That's just awesomeness all as a whole. So, and there she is with the kids. So, okay, well, I'm going to bring in our guest, a woman who is inspiring, intelligent, and absolutely a blast to be around, literally. She's known to many as a science icon, but really she is an inspirational icon. Her passion for science, learning, motorcycling, and our future is beyond anything you could fathom. A television star who leads by blowing things up in the name of science. Tamara Robertson is here, and she is tonight's spotlight. Let's bring her in. How do we do there, babe? You're doing good.
Oh, yeah.
Hey there. Gonna unmute you in a minute here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have some volume.
Hey.
Oh, I love.
Yeah, the domestic housewife is a thing, so I took feral shop. Yeah,
I love it. That's perfect. How are you this evening?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. I am very good. I've just been so excited all week about this. It's just like, oh my goodness. And
Me too.
you inspired me. I know in Sturgis, we sat down to have a 5-minute chat, and like an hour and a half later, we were like, oh, okay, we better get back to what we're doing. But you were doing amazing
Yeah.
things. So I do have my bandana here. I think everybody needs to have one of these Jesse Combs Foundation bandanas. I think that it's
Absolutely.
awesome.
That
What-
one flies on your motorcycle.
Yeah, that one goes on my motorcycle. I had to untie it. I'm like, I don't have another bandana. I got to go on and buy one because I have one on my motorcycle. So, what have you been up to?
Oh my goodness. So, as you kind of said in the intro, I just joined the Jesse Combs Foundation Board of Directors this year. So I've been working with them since day zero, obviously knowing Jesse prior as a friend and running in between what we named Makers for Jesse fundraisers throughout the year. It's been a really amazing opportunity. We just had our board summit. So we're very amped and excited about like all the moto events that are coming up this year,
Awesome.
all of the chances to get more of those bandanas on more bikes and with more women. So it's been a lot of that and just building out my new space here so I can just fabricate and weld all day long.
I love it. That's the thing. And it's a lot of people don't understand that, but that's like your safe place, where you go to relax and enjoy and have a little fun. So tell me a little bit about Makers. We talked about that in Sturgis.
Yeah, the term makers is like a really interesting, like, let's all be honest, it's the new marketing term, right, for it, but it's what we've all been doing our whole lives. It's fabricating, it's building, it's inventing, it's taking something that has a totally different use and bringing it into a new use. And so the maker movement is just kind of bringing a giant spotlight to the hobbyists that are out there. They're being, as Teresa Contreras and Jesse Combs posed it perfectly, the real deal. People that are wanting to be hands-on and be gritty and fail a bunch, but keep trying until they get it right. And so that movement has been just really incredible to watch. And it's everything from welders to blacksmiths to people that are doing cross stitch to jewelry makers to resin makers. So really any world that involves you using your hands, you're part of the maker movement. So we invite you all in,
And
we're talking about it being fully.
And you're working towards some events, right? Don't you guys, you get together and everybody helps, it teaches each other what their genre is, what they're doing. Like you were saying in Pennsylvania, I think it was, you were saying that you guys were doing.
It's in the Catskills. And it's the best time of the year. It's during the fall. It's October. It's the Catskills Makers Camp. I run the Makers for Jesse auction there every year. And what it is local and non-local makers just throughout the year write me and they're like, hey, I built this thing because I was inspired by Jesse and I'd love to auction it off. And all of the proceeds go to the Jesse Combs Foundation Scholarship, which puts women through programs in the trades. And while you're out there, you're hands-on with anvils and hammers. You're getting to use that still saw to literally slab full trees into live edge wood. You're able to learn how to carpet loom. Of course, if you're female, I do the women's welding hour every day under the Lincoln tent. And you leave with a bandana. And actually, as a woman, if you're there learning skills, you come and just show me what you made at the Jesse Combs Foundation booth, and you get a bandana. The men have to donate for it. The ladies, you learn a skill, and you're the real deal then. So you get one.
I loved watching that in Sturgis. It was incredible, and just how giddy and excited they get, like little kids all over again. Not thinking that, especially no matter what age, but even some of the older women, never having that opportunity, because a lot of us were told, I wanted to be an astronaut, and they were like, girls don't do that. So I was like, okay, well, that's not what I'm doing. I had made a good astronaut all the way up to the point of it taking off and me puking everywhere, because I found out I'm not good at that. So
Me too. I would definitely be puking too.
Let's talk about, you have a comic book series that you guys do.
do.
Right. And that is Seekers of Science comic book series. What made you decide to do that?
Yeah, so Seekers of Science, or SOS for short, is a series that involves us tackling real world problems with real world science, and we bring in living scientists to each issue. Of course, we have karate chopping nanoparticles to fight oil because it's still a comic, but it helps with everything from science literacy to showcasing the different faces of STEM, as well as showcasing the really cool technology and like fabrication abilities. And honestly, we launched it because I had the honor of being put into a Marvel comic called the Unstoppable Wasp series. And in it, the writer, Jeremy, would elevate a living scientist in each issue. And so he's like, hey, can I put you in an issue? And by the way, we like to do 2 people. And I'm like, hey, can Tracy come along? And so we were put in this comic, and it was kind of a beautiful thing where they would have the comic go on its way. And of course, it's linked to Nadia Pym and Ant-Man and all of them. And they would have these science facts. And so I'd been science editing for him, for Jeremy Whitley, for a number of years. And it was just really cool. Like, I never expected to actually get in the comic by doing that superhero science work. And so suddenly,
is that the picture? Is that what you're
No, I wish I had sent it. I actually created the cosplay of Jeremy's character and surprised him at a Comic-Con. I'll have to send you the photo.
All right, yeah, we'll put it up on the webpage.
The giant smile on his face, but that actually is me as Starfire at my very first con ever to speak superhero science in San Diego. And the gentleman in the suit of armor is Adam Savage.
Really?
It was my first time meeting him, and he was doing his incognito walk, and it was before any of this what is now history became part of my life.
Nice. How cool. That is so neat. Yeah. So I know it's very important to you, the kids especially. We were talking about that in Sturgis, and I'm going to make sure that some people watch this because those connections need to happen, because what you're doing and inspiring young people to go ahead and step out there and learn about STEM. So you have a couple different programs that you're doing to do that.
Yeah, so I have one program that's called Shop Science. Now, I originally launched it with a nonprofit under the title Maker Science. So you can find it on YouTube under Maker Science on the Midnight Science Club page. They're an awesome science outreach org as well. And my hope with the program is to reconnect hand and brain, because one of the biggest struggles that I have as someone that grew up rebuilding engines and homes with my dad as a child is when a parent comes to me and says, my kids don't like math and science and they need to be in STEM. How do I force them? And then I talk to the kids and I find out that they love being in a garage. They love being hands-on with machines. And it's like, why aren't you talking to them about apprenticeships in the trades? And it's part of the reason that I love the work that I do with both Society of Women Engineers and the Jesse Combs Foundations, because it shows there are 2 very valuable pathways that kids can go down if we put a tool in their hands and teach them that they can build the future they want. But until we do that, they don't have that access. They don't have that knowledge. And so with the show, I try to connect everyday things with the science and tech behind it, the cool artisanal skills behind it, and then sprinkle the science throughout, so that if they end up liking books and being at a computer and in offices, they have the STEM route. And if not, then they have the ability to actually be hands-on and wrenching and building things bigger than them, like the Dandelion of Doom that I'm sitting in that one photo, and really do incredible things in the trades. And we need them on both pathways. So I don't want it to be an either or. I want it to be just go,
Well, and Northern Tool has the tools for the trade. I was telling you about that. And tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and do a text introduction via, I have your phone number now, and I'm going to put you in touch, because I think that you and the person who does the marketing there, I do believe that you two will hit it off. And she is phenomenal. What she does, same thing, same mindset. Just, it warms me inside. You know what I mean? Because I'm all about that. I did a live build with some high school girls in Sturgis in 2010. You know, that being able to work on motorcycles and tinker and do things, that for me is what saved me from going the opposite way, because life is all about choices. Sometimes you're willing to make a choice that's not good for you, and luckily when something like that pops up in front of you and grabs your interest, it changes your route and your path, and then you learn to make better choices. You know, you can look back and see, but it's fantastic. Now, the SWE, that's a society of women engineers. So they have a K through 12 girls program. Want to tell us just a little bit about that? Because I think that's awesome.
Yeah, so they have what is known as the Invent It, Build It program. And so each year I run the high school program and I get to do a build with like 600 little girls wherever their annual conference is. So we move across the nation. They bring girls in from all different neighborhood societies to give them this chance. It's free camps. It's a free leadership academy where they're getting mentorship. It's kind of like master's classes, basically. I did one last year about harnessing the superhero cape of your actual skills and owning, everyone has a kryptonite. Like, what is yours?
Right.
Own it and then live beyond it. And these girls are given something that they're not given in day-to-day life, and that's a community and a network, because a lot of the times they are the only ones in that robotics club or that science class or that shop class. And so they're able to get hands-on, they're able to build a network, and they're able to get continued mentorship. And it starts in middle school, it goes through high school, college, and then into the professional workforce, everything from training, resume building, job placements when they're ready, internship placements. So it's basically like an apprenticeship before they're even out of school, so that's their way of trying to build that pipeline and keep them in it.
Right. That's fantastic. And I'm lucky I have friends like Laura Clock, who with the Abbott House, she helps the girls that, with that. Kevin Teach Bass, he does that with his high school class. So that's phenomenal. Now, they can follow what you're doing at The Real Tamara Robertson, and then also at Bell's Tinkering. Tell me about Bell's Tinkering.
Yeah, so I do an all-female makers podcast, and I will admit that I traveled and did the Eat, Pray, Make things this last year. So I have half a season in the can. It's coming. The archive is coming, actually starting in 2 weeks. But I talk to women that are either in a trade skill or they're in a STEM skill. And we talk about the things that, there's lots of maker podcasts out there, but they're almost all oriented towards guys. And so it's things like, hey, when you're in your third trimester and find out you're no longer allowed to go up a ladder, but you were just remodeling your entire house, like, how do you coach your husband how to use a tool he's never touched before, and the things that we don't always think about, I think the first episode we talked about the best sports bra if you're like over a table saw all day, because it matters.
It matters. It does.
About fingers.
Oh yeah, for sure. We have parts they don't, and vice versa. But I'm totally about that.
Theirs are below the table. Luckily, they're lucky in that respect. Ours are right there.
Right there, exactly.
Safety first.
That is so funny. So I just want to talk for a minute too. We had discussed it's so funny. I got so excited tonight. I was just like, oh my God. So you got your degree, you left the corporate world because you weren't seeing women moving up, correct?
No. Yeah, no. Yeah, I walked away from corporate engineering. I was reporting into a CEO launching global divisions, and in 2015, I kind of, you do what you're supposed to do. When you get to a higher amount, you look back for the people that are like you to try to pull them up. And that's why for so long, men have done really well in STEM. And it's the one thing I tell women all the time that, before you start pointing fingers, who have you brought up behind you? Who have you groomed? Who have you given that handout to and made sure that next woman was ready? Because a lot of the times we get busy and bogged down and we forget that that's a part of it, right? So in 2015, I got to a point where I realized that for 5 tiers of management, there were no women at all in our organization. And I had been building women in leadership programs at every engineering firm I was at, every company I was at. And I just realized that from the inside, I was only making a small difference. And I was like, you know what? Where are we losing them? And so I looked at the pipeline, I looked at the data, and I realized we were losing them in elementary school when they started to doubt their science and math skills and their ability to build. We were losing them in middle school and high school because of peer pressures and why are you covered in grease when you should be covered in makeup. We were losing them in college when they were the only ones in the groups, in the study groups, and being asked daily, are you getting an MRS or a BS? We were losing them first year into their companies where they were getting skipped over for management positions or leadership training programs because they might get married or have kids. And so I was like, there's so much work to be done here. And within one company, I can't make a big enough impact. And so I came out and I started hitting the road full time to do what I'm hoping to do more thoroughly when I build out my teardrop tool shop, which will be a small teardrop trailer I pull with all the tools of the middle schools and high schools. But I started just talking to classrooms and trying to like not only inspire the little girls to be there, but to normalize a woman as an expert, so that little boys were seeing a woman that could use tools and could do all these things, so that they didn't think it was weird when their female peers started doing it.
Right. It makes
so
them
they wouldn't
equals.
bully them
Right.
when they start doing it.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
And
awesome.
so it was I had given myself a year to do that full time, and then to figure out like what I was going to do if I didn't join a board or something. Then I was going to obviously have to go back to work eventually. But it was during that time that Mythbusters found me, and the rest has just been history, because it gave a level of a platform where now I'm able to be in living rooms as well as classrooms.
Yeah.
And I think that that's had just such a stronger impact than I ever imagined. And it's something I'm so grateful and humble for, because these kids are just incredible. And I've gotten to see so many of them grow up over and go into, trades and school and everything. And it's just been a beautiful journey. But
it is. That's an incredible thing. And there's nothing from a personal experience, like with those high school girls, there was nothing in the world that was like that ever in a million years. And that's why I'm always in such awe of you, because like I said, you inspire me. I think about sometimes I'm like, well, what would my favorite Mythbuster do right now? Like Don's like, Mythbuster, he's heard it many a times. I want to shout out to Coach East, Dave, John Baker, Bass Cycles is watching. Miss Jenny Bass, she's a badass. Jenny Bass, I think you met her in Sturgis. She's an incredible woman.
So.
And so much that you're doing. I mean, it matters. It makes a difference. And to normalize, like you said, to normalize all that to where they're not bullying or making, it becomes a normal thing to where we're all equals. It's who's the best person for the job. It's not gender
Exactly.
or right. It's who's out there. And what I think is cool about the programs too that you're doing, that it keeps a competitive edge. They want to learn more because they want to be better, because they want to get to the next level, get to the next level, get to the next level. And to support that, especially for young girls, I get women all the time who they'll call me up or they'll email me, and I call them and they're just like, wow, you called me. And it's like, well, yeah, I want to make sure that what you need to know, I can provide that for you, because without someone else doing that for me, and for me, I was lucky. I had a lot of men around me. I didn't have any women, no women mentors to look up to like that. Chris Summer Simmons, when she did Harley Women magazine, I was taken back. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. But it's so necessary to do that. And like you said, and there's no reason a girl at 5 years old now can't be an astronaut when she wants to be an astronaut, and do anything. So my hat's off to you. I just think that's great. And I know everybody that watches is going to follow you and see what you're doing and do what they can to participate too. I know it. And me too. I'm a forever fan now, a forever fan and a forever friend, if you'll have me, because I just think the world of you. And in what you're doing, like, I'm lucky to be around great women who do great things, and they do it from their heart. There's a reason for it. They understand, there's a necessity. It's not a I am woman, hear me roar thing. It's a I am your equal. I am capable. I am smart. I am intelligent. Don't let the boobs and the round butt fool you, and the pretty hairdo or the makeup. Like, I can get in and get down and dirty and nitty gritty too. And I think that's cool, because for generations, we didn't have that, and there's nothing wrong with putting a dress on and getting dressed up and going to an awards thing or whatever, going out to dinner. But to feel like you have to play that role is just something that is so out of time now. I'm just grateful for that. It's because of women like you, and I think that's awesome. Michael Jordan said he had one teacher, he said, that knew he was more than he showed. She made me do so much better. So, and that's the thing too, when somebody's inspiring you or standing behind you and saying you can do it, it matters. It matters. And Matthew Serio wants to know, what can men do to support you? What can the men do out there?
I think, you kind of spoke to it. Growing up and getting to where I've gotten, the majority of the opportunities I've been given have been from men that want to make a difference for their daughters, for their sisters, for their wives. Because at the end of the day, to your point, we're not looking to be able to get the job because we're the woman. We're just wanting to be able to do the job. We don't want you to see us as the woman engineer, the woman mechanic, or the woman in the shop. Like, we just want to be the person in the shop that has the skill and the merit to be there without it being questioned once we've shown it, which I do. I also caution women. I go, if you walked into my shop, whether you were male or female, and you wanted to use my welder, I would question your skills before I'd let you do it. So it's not a personal thing. It's a skills and safety thing. But I think, guys, especially today, are incredible allies in the field, especially Matt knows me very well from the Makers, this segment. And then I see Dave's in here too. Like, they're both incredible allies that really help the women around them, like, navigate the courses if they're having troubles. And then also being the dude that's not afraid to be like, hey, guy, that wasn't cool. Because if I were to say, hey, that's not cool, I'm nagging or I'm being emotional. But sometimes it takes one of their own guys to be like, hey, like, what were you trying to accomplish there? Because this is how that kind of appeared to me.
It didn't work out, right?
Yeah, exactly. It can be sometimes a better learning moment when it comes from someone that they view as a peer than when it comes from the person that honestly is, I don't want to say victim, because we all try to not be victims and things, but when you're the one that's getting the onslaught, sometimes someone outside of it stepping in and being like, hey, that's not cool. Like, don't be that ass, don't be that guy, It can help a lot. And I think, just continuing to be the allies that they are. And I think this generation in the shop is really incredible. And they're definitely starting to make those moves and make that difference. And, just more of that.
Yeah, more of that. I agree. And I'm just, again, I'm so the magic wheelchair. I almost cried when I saw that. I love to make Halloween costumes. My grandson at 5 has had some of the most elaborate Halloween costumes. He was a wolf this year, but he was a dump truck. He was a spider, whatever he wanted. So if anyone ever needs help with that, please. My daughter's like, you should sell these on Etsy. You should make them. I'm like, yeah, it's not the dollar sign, but like, to help kids to have a cool costume. Oh, sign me up. I'm all in. I will definitely send you the information. What's really amazing about that organization, I met them at Comic-Con, and they were literally bootstrapping this whole movement of trying to just get more kids into it. And it started out as parents and friends that were doing it for Halloween, and then it became something well beyond that. And they have kids all over the country that need costumes, and they're trying to make it so it's not just Halloween. It can be hey, you have a Comic-Con coming up in your area. Do you want to come do it? Oh, yeah.
It's a birthday event. And so
that's
I'm
cool.
definitely happy to direct connect you. But I know that's something with the maker community too. They're always like, if anyone has garages and wants to build, let them know. We'll let them know about a kid in their area and other makers. And so building that kind of that I told them I was going to build a dank Excel spreadsheet that just showed them where the makers fabricators were and where the kids are, and let them start cross-pollinating, be like, hey, they threw their name in the hat, let's go.
Yeah, and people always say, they're always like, well, you're always happy, you always try to be positive, and it's like, that stuff fills us up. When we're allowed to do that, it fills up our soul, and that's the important part. That's what makes it easier to tolerate some of the things that go on around us, and not let it, make us sour or, go through. I guess, I don't know, maybe guys and girls are different. I guess I'd have to get a guy perspective on that, but that just, it makes me want to do more feel more, help more, be part of more. Because again, like my daughter's like, well, I want to build a bike with you. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm still waiting. That she was 14. She's got a baby. He's 5, but she had gotten away from it for quite some time. And then we went to Brooklyn to the Indian Larry party, and she's like, I don't understand where I've been. And it kind of had to click for her, you know what I mean? But she's the girl that's out there sawing the wood and building the wall. And I mean, we're both like that. We grew up. I was the son my dad never had, you know what I mean?
Me too.
Right. So it's cool because like we learn things that we didn't let it deter us, that people thought we were, weird because of it. And look at the great things. I mean, I'm grateful. I'm so lucky that I get to do so much. But with what you do, I'm just like, I'm a cheerleader. Miss Nicole Lockwood, of course, she says, I love both of you. She's so awesome. I love Nicole. She's another one. Okay, so what else? Oh, there was one more thing. The STEM camp in Florida.
Oh yeah, so we do that as part of the Seekers of Science. So the shot you had with the little girl throwing the fireball. So what we do is we come in and we give them it's basically like science murder mystery, like the manatees are dying or the algae is dying or something is dying, and they have to investigate what is happening. So they have a full week. We teach them how to make aerial drones. We teach them how to make underwater ROVs, which is remote operated vehicles. And then every morning we wake them up with some superhero science that involves throwing fireballs, exploding giant elephant foam, like all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the conference is the International Code Council, and I pitched them throwing fireballs, but because they're the safety guys, they said I couldn't do it.
What's the green thing?
It's what we call elephant toothpaste. We're renaming it because I'm launching this kids series called Tinkering T-Rex. So we're gonna call it dinosaur toothpaste because we're gonna do it all over. But it's basically a supersized volcano from middle school, except for much more caustic chemicals. Don't put them down the drain. But it shoots like 20 feet to 40 feet high. But it's really great because it goes straight up and then it comes straight down. So you only need one tarp. It stays on it, and they love that for cool. Quick changeover of the stage. The efficiency factor on conferences. I'm like, I'm gonna make a huge mess, but it's a quick cleanup, I promise.
I swear, I just think it's so cool because no matter what, you always just get to be a big kid. Like that's like the perfect thing. Like, yes, I always tell everybody, kids, pets, and old people, and they're like, why? I'm like, well, because I'm a giant kid. I like to learn from the older folks because they've seen it all. And if you just spend enough time listening, you learn so much, just zip it and hear their stories. And it's like, wow. And then, pets, they're unconditional. They just love you. So that's a big thing. So, okay. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about before we get on to some questions?
No, I think we've covered so much. Like I said, I am launching a new kids series. The comic is still going. We're going to be launching issue 5 with Santa Clara's engineering week in February. But then we're doing a whole series called Tinkering T-Rex, where the dinosaurs are tackling builds, and in each one there will be a little build from everything from stomp rockets to Newton's cradles that the kids can do at home. So we always try to make it accessible, just like the comic has a less than $10 DIY for STEM. This will be a fabrication less than $10 DIY as well, and it's all made out of hardware parts because we're partnering with Ace Hardware. So
super cool. That is awesome because that our local hardware stores are very important, and they're starting to go away. So that's good to bring the kids into that fray because then maybe they'll stay a while longer. They'll know where to go. I mean, other than the big stores, the big box store, it's just the local, it's your community that matters to put back into your community. And then all that hard work, that's what it does. It makes your community flourish. So that is so awesome.
If I can actually give a homework assignment for everyone. So it's not a direct partnership with Ace. What it is when I worked on Maker Science with Midnight Science Club, I got to know their sister organization, which is called Hardware Science. And every Ace hardware in the nation has access already within their product codes to what is called hardware science kits. And so they can put these STEM kits in their Ace Hardwares if they know that people want them. So you just got to ask your local franchise owner, hey, do you have these kits? And so we're going to be writing books to accompany those kits so that we can do workshops in the local Aces here on the West Coast and in the Midwest near where me and the author are, but we're hoping to do it nationwide soon. But we got to get the kits into more of the Aces first. So, and I don't get money for this. I just think.
So what are they asking for? It's a hardware kit.
It's called Hardware Science.
Hardware Science kit.
It's how to build a bottle rocket out of literally a toilet plunger and PVC piping. So everything you need is already probably in your shop. So you're not buying more stuff. You're just using the tools you already have. Yeah. And the kids.
I'm going to Ace Hardware tomorrow. I got to go get some bolts. I'm going to ask him, the manager. I'm going to ask him because I'm going to tell everybody about that. I'm going to get one for my grandson. He's 5. We love that.
Oh, Dave.
You know,
Dave, we're going to connect.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. See, and that's what this is all about, to make sure everybody's out there doing it. All right. So how do you feel about some questions?
I'm ready. Shoot.
All right. Now, I usually do everybody usually gets the same ones, but I kind of mix them up with you because there's extra there because you're so well encompassed by it all there. Okay. We covered that. I'm shameless because I'm just like, I got so nervous today. Don's like, you know all the questions. I'm like, yeah, but I threw some extra ones in there. I mean, it's kind of the same, but you know. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick fire, like some quick, simple ones. Okay, so dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Big or small?
Small. Oh wait,
Small?
dogs. The size of the dog? Oh no, both ends of the spectrum. I love the giant ones and the tiny ones. The middle ones are nice for cuddling, but I like the extremes.
I love it. All right, so apples or oranges?
Oh, I'm going to go apple because if you get your aim good, you can really ward off strangers. And they also make apples make TSA really, really angry when you put them in your carry-on. So I just like to slip one in there every time.
Really? It irritates. Oh yeah, because it's like fruit. They don't know where it came from.
It's actually just a black orb on their scanner. Oh. So they have to find it to figure out what they're looking at. So I joke with my friends in Apple, they'll keep the doctor away, but TSA will get you.
Yeah, no doubt. That's funny. That is too funny. All right, so hotel or camping? Camping? Yeah, definitely. Okay. Slow or fast?
Fast.
I get a lot of that. Some of the guests will say slow because they're slowing down in life and they get to see things that they zoomed right past. But you know, when you got when your eyes set on the prize, you know, it goes either way. Okay, so I had to add this one: implode or explode?
Explode.
I love it. Now, because you do both, right? You get to
the implosions happen. We do the vacuum boop as much as we do the blah, but the blast radiuses are epic, which I've searched too many times to not think the government is watching my computer now.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, breaking or making?
Ooh, I like to break and then make.
Okay, I like that
Figure
one.
out how it works, then put it back together in a different way.
Okay, I like that. Make it better when you put it back together, right? Yep. Okay, sunshine or moonshine?
Moonshine.
Okay.
Both the drink and the light.
I like it. That's awesome. Very good. All right, so what is your favorite song? That's a hard one for everybody, so don't feel bad.
That is actually really, really a hard one. Why Do You Build Me Up, Buttercup immediately came to my head, and I'm like, why is that what just popped in? But I feel like it wants to be heard. So
okay,
we used to sing it between like when school would end and practice would start, and I think it annoyed the hell out of our coach, but we loved doing it. And
I love it. That is awesome. Okay, so what would you consider your favorite food?
Ooh, my favorite food is definitely all things fruits. Like I used to joke that I like why isn't a fruitarian a thing? Because I just wanted to eat fruits nonstop. And like I love me some pineapple. I love me some grapes. Like I could just sit there and eat fruit all day.
Okay, I'll go with that. Okay, and then if you were a superhero, who would you be?
Oh my gosh. I would be the Phoenix for sure.
Okay.
She's
All right.
gotten to like rebuild in so many different ways. She's gotten to be dark. She's gotten to be light. She's fire. I'm like a Scorpio, and the Phoenix is like a part of our whole like thing, anyways. But yeah, I like her. I like the Phoenix a lot.
Okay. Now, if you were a mixed drink or a cocktail, what would you be?
Oh, I'm gonna be whiskey straight up every time. I'm not gonna be a mixed one.
Not messing around with that one. Very good. All right, so that's cool. So we're going to get into some real questions here. So where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Eastern North Carolina. So most people know the Outer Banks or like Wilmington as locations, but I grew up in a no stoplight town called Broad Creek, where if you blinked,
Okay.
you missed us because we were in between two little bridges.
I love it. That is fantastic. Okay. So who would you consider your childhood hero?
My childhood hero, honestly, and this is probably like people are gonna be like, this is a cop out, but I would say my childhood hero is my dad because my dad was deployed all the time growing up. I was lucky if I saw him like once a quarter, and that's obviously why I got sent away to build things because when he was not there, I was taking things apart. And so I just always knew he was out there fighting for my freedom and for us to be safe. Like, and so, between Desert Storm and his work in Quantico and then getting recalled when 9/11 happened, we just always knew dad was out there making sure we were safe. So.
Well, thanks to your whole family, because not only is it the service member, but it's also the family that sacrifices so the rest of us can do what we do. So we are appreciative of that for sure. Okay, so how did you get into motorcycles?
It's funny. So my dad used to run a motorcycle shop way before I was around. And he sold that to go into the military when he had my older siblings. And so growing up, there was always, and it's still there, this partial chopper just sitting there waiting to be finished. And I constantly am like, do you want to finish it? When are we going to finish this? Why are we not building this? And you get the stories through the years about the people that have not made it, that aren't here with us anymore on bikes and things like that, and the choices to walk away from it. But so I was like, well, I want to get a bike. Like, I'm going to get a bike. So I wasn't allowed to get a bike while I was at home. And so when I was in college, I actually was interning with the first company I ended up officially working for later. And my boss was selling his because he was a 6'4" large gentleman riding a GZ 250. He kind of looked like the bear in Madagascar on the little bicycle. And so he decided to get a big boy bike. And so he gave me a really great deal on it. And so I got to just ride the Appalachian Mountain Blue Ridge Parkway for so long on this beautiful bike. And it wasn't until I moved to the West Coast and saw some pretty gnarly car bike interactions and realized that, the people in LA just didn't seem to respect bikes as much as we did in North Carolina, that I garaged it for a while and then finally donated it. So I'm ready to get back on it now that I'm out in Arizona. Bikes are everywhere. Everyone's super happy. And it helps that I'm right near the Jessica Combs Foundation, and I get to teach welding at all the Sturgis and the Babes Ride Out events and all that. You can't be around them this much and not be like, okay, next year I'm riding.
Right. We're gonna find you something too. We're gonna find something in your criteria for sure. Okay. So when you're riding, what would you say your biggest challenge in motorcycling is or was?
So I had the foresight enough and had been given the advice to take the Harley Davidson defensive driving course. And so that really helped me a lot because, they literally like throw 2x4s at you and stuff, right? Because we all know it's not a matter of if we're going to go down, it's a matter of when. And are you prepared for it? And so I was really lucky in that fact that I never was really scared of the bike itself. I was never really scared about how to take it down if I had to go down with it. The hardest part for me is just being short as shit. Like, I cannot, like, I learned on a 500cc Buell, and the concept of standing and sitting were the exact same thing, and I could barely do either of them on it. So,
On it, right?
it's one of the hardest things for me to tackle is finding a bike that I feel like no matter what, I can come to a stop with and not be the kid that's like, it's just an ego play. I don't want to be that
Right.
kid. It's hard enough being a petite woman on a bike without looking like a moron.
Next time I see you when we're at an event, I have my motorcycle. I'm gonna have you sit on it because it's like really low to the ground and it's a big motorcycle.
Oh,
It's a shovel
okay.
head. But we do all that
Mm.
stuff. And you're a maker. We can show you how to do all that and get it to where you want. It's all about fitment. So there's tricks. I know some tricks. I know a little bit.
Okay.
I can guess the
I
rest
wanna-
too. So
I like learning skills. You can teach me some tricks.
staying backwards, I need to learn there's some science stuff I have questions about, so you could probably answer them, which is
Oh, heck
pretty
yeah.
cool, 'cause-
Text me
yeah.
anytime. Ask me.
I love it. I love it.
My author friends, I'll get questions that I'm like, I don't think this might be a question you shouldn't text people. I got one question one time that's like, how would you use cigarettes to kill someone? And I'm like, you shouldn't have texted this question to me. I can't
Right.
answer it now.
And nor do I want to get the information, right?
I'll have to tell her about
Like-
the capacitor to clean up all the stuff.
That's funny. Don always wanted to make a flux capacitor like they had in Back to the Future, but he thought cigarette butts. If you use
When
cigarette butts, you
Ooh.
clean up the
run out of
world.
gas, you look down, there
Run
they
out of
are,
gas.
they're everywhere.
They're everywhere, so you'd clean up the world, and
I like that.
Make fuel
he's my
out of
genius
cigarette
though,
butts.
so that's too funny. Okay. You're so bad. Okay.
I love it.
So, I guess my next question is going to be, who is your motorcycle hero? I think I know the answer to that.
It's gonna be Jessie every time.
Mhm.
I mean, she was the one that inspired me. We spoke together at an event for Lincoln and Cleveland. And it was the first time I actually got to meet her because obviously we were kin because of the Mythbusters franchise, but we had never gotten to actually be in the same room until we were keynoting that event. And she spent the whole time talking about Sturgis. It's in her backyard where she grew up.
Mhm.
And I was just so inspired to like get my bike again. And I had a partner at the time that was really adamant that he didn't want me on bikes, that it wasn't safe, that I was too small, and she basically was whatever to him.
Yeah, he's
got
got to go, right?
She's like, you got to get on a bike. We got to do this. It's going to be great. And I was really looking forward to getting to do the Sturgis Women's Ride with her. But
yeah. Most
now
definitely.
we do it in spirit.
In spirit, yeah, definitely. She was an incredible woman, incredible human being, and just the things that she did. And again, like you, always a smile, always wanting to inspire someone or help someone or talk about cool, I was lucky enough to have a few interactions with her, and she always made you feel like you were one of her closest friends when you talked to her.
Yep.
She always made the time and took the time, and that always, it reminds me too, also when things are hectic and we're somewhere, I always do that. And I always remember those who have done that with me. So, and she was definitely all that. And I tell everybody that Max has a movie out, Fastest Woman on Earth.
Yep.
Came out October
HBO
20th.
Max.
Oh yeah.
It's a beautiful film. Beautiful film.
It is. Most definitely. And for everybody who knows her, it'll make you cry. So not to change the subject, but yeah.
Bring some tissues.
Definitely, for sure. Okay, so what would you say your favorite motorcycle event is? I know you've done a few. You've done the Harley anniversaries. You've done Sturgis. Have you done Daytona Bike Week yet?
I actually did Daytona Bike Week when I was in college quite a few times.
Okay.
I was definitely not in the life I'm in now. I was doing that. But
more fun we don't want to talk about.
they're a very fun event. I really like all of the events because the community is so phenomenal when it comes to moto. And like, I will say there's something really special about the Babes Ride Out events, and it's not just because the men aren't allowed in, but that does it allows conversations that probably aren't otherwise
Okay.
But the thing is that there's also this like there's this grittiness to it. We're all camping out. Everyone's covered in grime and dirt. Like there's any pretenses that you had coming in are gone. No one's
Gone.
staying at hotels and getting clean and fancy
Right.
before they're coming out for like model pictures. We're all in it. We're doing the workshops. We're working on the bikes. We're repairing them if they mess up off road. You're getting to try out. Harley brings out their massive fleet, and you get to demo any bike you want. I feel bad for the guys not getting to experience it, but you got to do that at Sturgis. You guys can go there and experience all the
Bike week, they do all that stuff.
Yeah, they do it. But so it's kind of just a neat event because it's just gritty and fun.
List. That's one that I really want to do. I do want to. We'll have to connect on that too and see.
Yeah, for sure.
So one of my closest friends, Patricia Thurston, it's Mama Ditch. She was on the show. She's 5'3", and she says you got to fit the bike to how you feel comfortable. She got her Dyna from a 6'2" guy, and she's 5'3". So, but the Dyna is really, really that's a good bike, and she rocks.
I've looked at the Dynas a lot. Those are beautiful bikes.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I got my eye open for you, so we'll figure something out. Now that you're in Arizona, I got people out there too. All right. Yeah. So, what would you say your most memorable motorcycle moment would be?
Ooh, most memorable motorcycle moment. I don't know. I remember like growing up, going to the quarter track, and in the backwoods, and just getting to see guys on motorbikes doing tricks and popping wheelies. And like, I remember for me as the nerd kid, I'm like, how are they doing that? What's the physics of that? And like, just started this like little brain train going of like, how are they getting enough traction? How are they getting, like, what does the friction look like to make the bike do that and be okay? And so those are always really cool. I remember watching the Evel Knievel stunts. Like, always loved those. Like,
oh yeah.
But I would say actually kind of a recent thing. I was in Portugal, and I summited a bridge, and it's one of I think there's only 6 bridges legally that you're allowed to climb in the world. And so you get to actually summit and go under the trusses and see like the entire city. It's just absolutely stunning. But the guy was telling me that the reason that they still do that hike today is because a gentleman did it on a motorcycle. Literally went all the way up the under truss of this bridge and then turned around and came back. And he would just do it for fun on weekends. And then they finally like documented him doing it because it was the first time it had ever been done. And like, he showed me pictures and like old archive video and stuff. And I was like, that is just like the coolest thing to be like, hey, here's this man-made structure that no one's really doing anything with. Let me sneak in there and do it. It's like that
ride motorcycle across it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah.
It's just kind of cool. Like, I'm like, yeah. And I mean, that pitch, like I took the harness off at the end, and I was like, can I just like scramble and see how far I can get without it? And he's like, yeah, okay, just don't tell anyone. So of course I filmed it. And I literally at one point was like Spider-Man trying to like just hold on, like, and I'm like, I'm just doing the new thing and like trying to spread my fingers to get and I was just sliding down. I was like, I don't know how that guy did this on a motorcycle without making his pants brown.
No, literally, that's for real, no doubt. So my next question, I mean, we talked about your career and how you got into engineering and stuff like that, but let's talk about Mythbusters. Did you like go and audition for that, or how did that happen? Like, out of all the things you were doing.
Yeah, so Mythbusters, man, that's like the dream when you're in school as an engineer, like as a maker or anything. And so throughout college, because engineering is just so mentally draining and rigorous and just one way the entire way, I needed an outlet. And so I was doing acting on the side, and I had been found by an agent, so I was doing commercial print, commercial acting. And so I'd always just kind of had these agents going along. And so by the time you fast forward to 2015, when I'm on the West Coast launching this global division for a Houston company, I get a message from one of my casting agent's friends, and they're like, I don't know if this is real. This is probably a prank. This is probably total bullshit. But if it is real and you don't apply, you're going to hate yourself. And so it was like, hey, looking for the next generation of Mythbusters hosts. And I didn't even have cable. I still don't have cable. I've never had TV. But
Same here.
I thought the show was still going. Like, I thought everyone was still in it. And so it was like, I thought it was just to be like an additional host or something. And so you basically had to do this like 20-page questionnaire that was like, can you sweep a floor from 1 to 10? Can you weld from 1 to 10? Like all of this stuff. And then you had to make a video. And of course, I ended it with like a picture of everyone that had ever been on Mythbusters as the host and superimposed me in there. And I was like, a third ginger seems like a great idea. Like, why not? And so I like submitted it. And it's really funny too, because I was one of only 10 people chosen out of over 10,000 applicants. And when I look at the other 9 that applied, they were like YouTubers that had video of their credentials, like all this stuff. And Tracy and I talk about this a lot. Tracy and I got in because of our degrees and our work experience. And of course, we both worked for government agencies. So it's like,
Cool.
I can't show you video of what I build, or I'm going to get locked up in a prison somewhere. And so it was kind of funny because everyone else had these great videos, and her and I were both like, yeah, we got it from our resumes, like, and our skills. Like, and that was all that brought us in, was the fact that we were, for all intents and purposes, a real deal. We knew how to use the tools. We knew how to do the builds and designs. And that started me. That was the end of my 1 year that I'd given myself in 2015. I remember it was like a 6-month application process too. And they constantly be like, oh yeah, we'll tell you next week. And then they would just ghost for months.
Radio silent. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like right at the cusp of my like 1 year, and I'm like, I have to go back to work. Like, I need to start working again. And so I was going to take 6 weeks in Denali and Alaska first, backcountry hiking and camping to kind of get a really hard reset before I, jumped back into the corporate grind. And I got a call from them, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna, if you make it, we'll let you know in a week. And I was like, dude, in a week, I'm gonna be in the Alaskan outback. So you guys have a great show. I'm out. And like, they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I gotta go. I'm packing. And like, got off the phone, and I got a call back less than 30 minutes later. And they're like, you don't know this, but in a week, you're going to get an email. And if you don't fill out that background check, you can't film with us in 3 months. So find a way out of Denali and fill it out. And so, I ended up there as one of only 3 women. Cool. I do still kind of knock the fact that, 30% is what women maximum are in STEM and trades fields, if they're lucky. I think that the network could have done better with diversity, because it was 3 white women. Should have done better with diversity. And then, I did the journey. And so I was the only female finalist, only 2 MVP winner, which means credentials wise and gaming laws, should have gotten the job. But as we women know, you can have twice the credentials and still not get the job. And so I didn't, but it was great because it paved the way for me to be able to do side jinx with Johnny Galecki, and Mythbusters Junior with Adam Savage. Had I been on the reboot outside of just being a guest host, I would have missed both of those opportunities. And they enabled me to do exactly what I wanted, which was working with kids, busting myths and fabricating. And I'm like,
that's perfect. That's why I wanted to know how we got into that, because that is kids, you know what I mean? It's inspiring our future, and you see so many things through the eyes of children. It actually brings you back to when you were a child, and you get the whole experience all over again. So that's amazing. I love that. Okay, so what would you say your biggest challenge in your career has been?
Outside of being a woman, I think it's so not pulling that card. I would actually say probably one of the biggest challenges for me is that I am an avid collector of skills. I enjoy being challenged. I enjoy being pushed. I really thrive in fast-paced, high-stress environments, which is why I'm a great startup engineer. It's why we were able to build a vaccines facility in the middle of the swine flu pandemic. But it can lead to a struggle when it comes to work-life balance. There's a reason that, I'm at the age I'm at without a family and partner. And it's because career has always come first because of that mindset. And so to your point earlier about the fast versus slow, the slowing down is something that I'm purposely trying to put more emphasis mentally on, and being like, oh gosh, I don't have anything to do today, and there's not a million things, but maybe that's okay. Like, what can I dig deeper into versus just continuing to hit the next thing? And that's part of the reason that we're doing the Tinkering T-Rex series, is because it's been this thing that I've wanted to do for a long time, but I've just been running so much that circling back and being like, okay, let's take this idea and actually make it something, as well as, looking at doing what I do with superhero science and formalizing it deeper into, the tangible comic book, which is actually on this side, even though I'm going like this, trying to make that trying to make that all have more depth, I think is one of the biggest struggles I've had. So I was quick to advance and quick to learn, but now trying to actually deepen, instead of just being like, I can weld, being like, well, what else can I do with that? Like, instead of just being like, oh, I'm good at the welding, like starting to get that breadth and depth of like, okay, like I've never welded a motorcycle. Let's try that. I've never,
build the next skill.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
sure.
Deepen the skill beyond just the learning and the skill itself to being more markets, I guess.
Right on. One of our viewers, good viewer of mine, Michael Jordan, he wants to know, what do you think the most important lesson you can teach a child is?
To fail. I talk to kids all the time about the fact that failing is an F word that we really should all just remove from our vocabulary, because at the end of the day, it's just iterative design. It's just trying it, seeing what you can fix and improving upon it, instead of actually seeing it as a stop. And it is something, we're really good about teaching our boys to get out there, get dirty, break stuff, fall down. But we tend to teach our girls that they need to be prim, proper, and perfect. And so trying to get them to embrace the failure especially can be hard. But I think any person is afraid to fail. We all want to always put our best foot forward, but what we don't realize is that if we're not pushing that boundary, we're never going to actually change our lives. We're never going to change the world. We're never going to change the technology and push it to where it can be. It's part of the reason our nation is falling behind when it comes to development, when it comes to research, when it comes to innovating. We have to teach our kids to fail, and to fail efficiently, and to fail with gusto and honor.
Right.
And be like, I figured out 100 different ways to not do this, but here's the way we're going to do it now. And I think that that's something that I actually set them up for failure in most of our camps. We give them challenges that are going to be too hard, because we want to teach them how to mentally get through that block. That
because from failure comes success. You learn the lessons and you move forward. Yeah, that's super valuable. That's awesome. That is a very impressive. Okay, so who would be your science engineering hero?
Oh, there's so many incredible people on the field that I don't know. I love Marie Curie. The fact that she basically killed herself discovering everything she discovered is beautiful. She got no credit for it until she died. There's Sally Ride is absolutely, speaking about astronauts and women going to space, the part of her life that she had to hide and never got to really be, just to be able to pursue the thing that she was passionate about for a career, is absolutely beautiful. You can't not mention and nod to the Elon Musks of the world, creating everything from PayPal to rockets that are reusable, to crowdsourcing Hyperloop, which I think they're now trying to figure out, how do we make sure the people in the Hyperloop don't puke like the rocket people? Because if you want it to be mass transit, you can't expect them all to be astronaut level non-pukers. So I feel like every single day I find out about a new technology that's incredible that's coming out there. There's a young woman that's working with us for the USA Science Festival that she literally created threads for stitches that will change color if they start to get infected. And she did it because she grew up she
Wow.
lives in an urban neighborhood, and she realizes that people don't go back to get sutures taken care of. And so it's a way for them to know that it's infected and that they need to go back. And
Wow.
so there's just,
How cool is
the
that?
kids today are making incredible things. The adults made incredible things. It's just so cool.
Yeah, that is amazing. Okay. So what would be your favorite STEM event?
Oh, there's so many good ones. I get to partake in like the USA Science Festival, and then we have STEM Fest that we're relaunching at the White House.
Oh,
I will
nice.
say the Invent It, Build It is still probably one of my favorites, though, because the aha moments, getting to be there on the ground with the girls. This year, I challenged them to build their own hydraulic scissor lifts. Half of the girls had never even seen a scissor lift, and so like a scissor lift is probably one of the hardest mechanisms that exists. And so, like I said, I didn't set them up for quick success. But at the end, when they got the success, it meant so much more because they had worked through all the things that weren't going well, and they crowdsourced information from each other, and they learned to not work in silos. And it was, it's just such a fun event. The girls always leave just mind blown. So
then that we can find through the SWE. Correct. That's one of the
yes. That one's through SWE. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. I like that. All right. So then what would you say your most memorable career moment is? And it doesn't have to be back corporate. It can be, the good fill yourself up stuff.
I think that there's probably the one that was the coolest for me was getting to do a greenfield startup for a vaccines facility during a pandemic. Getting to like the very first day that I had to manage a team in the labs that I had designed and sourced the items for was probably one of those big aha moments of like, okay, I designed this and now I have to live with it, which by the way, I needed way more cabinets than I put in there. Way more cabinets for glassware. But it's like, I had no one to blame but myself, but also like getting to see something that you had put on paper be a real life thing that was not only there and working, but like we made the first clinical material for avian flu vaccine there.
Wow.
Like we got to do these big things in this building that wouldn't have existed if we hadn't all been there to like put a little shovel in the dirt and break the ground and sweep all the dirt out when we wanted to finally put the walls up. It was kind of one of those cool moments where like all the hours and being in the trenches actually came to fruition. And I think that that's why I love startups so much, because you get to actually see that thing that was just this idea become a real life thing. And that's why I love fabrication and welding so much, because you take this idea and then suddenly you're like, oh, that's just made out of a ton of steel now, and I need a forklift to move that and some bulldozers and stuff.
That's what I love about building motorcycles. It's like you're giving life to something, and it takes on what it wants to be. It tells you who it's going to be. So okay, if you could go back and tell your 25-year-old self something, what would that be?
Stop living someone else's dream.
Nice.
I think that that's something that we all fall at some point to. And it took me until I was 28 to realize I had been chasing down someone else's dream. And I got the corner office, and I got the great paycheck, and I got the great title, and I was reporting to the CEO, and I was on my way to that 30 under 30 and was just absolutely miserable because I hadn't touched a tool in years. And it was one of those things that had I just been brave enough to say, I want to be on the shop floor. I want to stay on the shop floor instead of chasing this dream that got led by someone dropping that stupid magazine on my desk when I was a new engineer. I would probably still be in my engineering career today full time, But instead, I get to fabricate on my own whenever I want, whatever I want.
It's awesome. Yeah, and it's that thing too with little girls, and not to get off track of the questions or whatnot, but I tell my daughter all the time, my generation and women younger than older than myself, we were always put in this fairy tale. Like, there's nothing wrong with Cinderella, there's nothing wrong with Snow White, and it teaches a part of your heart, but the realistic part, it's like when women watch soap operas, they don't go to the bathroom, they never eat, nothing, nothing real ever happens. You'll see them at the grocery store, there's no real to it. Why are you laughing over there? I see you giggling.
The guy lights the tree and has the whole band,
Right.
The symphony playing out in the middle of nowhere. You can't hear the generator running.
You can't hear the generator run. That's his big thing, the De Beers commercial. They light up the whole tree with all the lights. He's got the band playing. There's no generator. Where do you get electric from?
Now they can do it.
Now, yeah, that was 20 years ago. So yeah, we laugh about that one all the time. He's my giant geek. He has a pocket protector in each pocket that you can't see. So
I love that.
Oh
I
yeah,
love that.
That's one of the hottest things about him. I think that's the coolest thing. Yeah, I tell everybody that.
I actually have a pocket protector in the other room, but it's not. I was like, normally it's within reach, and I would proudly hold it up. It's a Midnight Science Club pocket protector.
Right. Of course she can read a slide rule. Why would I ask that?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Like, she's an engineer, you weirdo. He's all happy because he has one. Can you read it?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's too funny. All right.
I'm not gonna lie though, that generator comment, like, that's one of the biggest issues I run into at Babes, is that they don't want a loud generator, and I'm like, how am I supposed to teach welding with? They don't make quiet generators that can run a welder.
Right. Exactly.
It's always this like, I'm like,
okay, well, there's a problem. We're gonna have to solve it. That's it. That's how things happen.
Lincoln has a good Lincoln and Miller. They both have good simulators, so I'm just trying to get one of those for it.
Right. So now at events, women can come to you and you teach them how to weld. You make the coolest little stick figures out of nuts and bolts. It is the neatest thing. And like I said, to watch them light up is, I just sat, I was in awe all day. I mean, I hadn't been done with all the stuff that I was doing, but I had to say that was the most fulfilling part of the day, other than the ride and leading all those wonderful women and all the accolades that come with, me being someone they look up to and stuff like that. That was the cherry on top. It really was, because it's just, again, and then you're so involved, and you're just as happy as they are. And it's like when they succeed, you've succeeded. You have that whole aura about you that I've succeeded. Look, they did that. And I'm just like, I think that's cool. So I'm going to be at every event I can just to watch you, because I think that that's the neatest thing. And I want to hang out with you. We just won't talk till the event's over, because I know we could go on and on and on. So
we could.
Yes,
I love it too.
Definitely. Okay, so if money didn't matter and you could take a road trip on a motorcycle anywhere, where would you go and with whom?
My dad and brother did a motorbike tour through Southeast Asia.
Oh.
And I would love to get the opportunity to do that with my dad. I'm still kind of butthurt that I was not asked to go on it, since I was also in a gap period in life where I was exploring. So I was very much available. I don't know why I didn't get requested to join. But I would really love, I would love to do that. But also, actually though, when I was in Iceland, there's a motorbike tour that happens there. I didn't see a single woman doing it. And maybe it's because it's freezing cold in Iceland, even in the summer. I was there dead of summer. It was still freezing cold. But I would like to do that just so that there's a woman doing it. And I know Babes is doing an Iceland tour, I think, for that same reason. But I would just go out there and kick the canister and do it myself, kind of putz around.
That's cool.
Have some fun.
My friend just came back. She came back and brought black sand, Miss Karen. She's a thing one. Sometimes he helps with production. He got absconded by a couple women at Bike Week, so we didn't see him for a while. But his mom, she went to Iceland and brought black sand for me. And I was so worried, because while she was there, they were having their volcanoes and stuff. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And wow, but what a beautiful place to see. That's definitely, let me know when you go. And who knows, maybe Dad heard what you said. Maybe he's going to watch this and he'll be like, okay, come on, kid, let's go Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, just me and you.
Why not?
Leave your brother at home. He already got to do it. Okay, so would you please tell us something about yourself that others may not know?
Fun fact, I have died twice.
What? That's not fun.
Yeah. I'm super allergic to penicillin.
Oh shit.
I guess if you ever wanna sabotage me, give me moldy bread.
Yeah, no.
And then
I'll kick their butts. I'm gonna check sandwiches anytime we're out at an event from now on.
Yeah, I can't even. I don't intake bread at all because there's just it's such a bad allergy.
Right.
And then I Tylenol 10. I can't do pain medicine in any way because of it. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I still remember the penicillin one because I was 16. I've been taking penicillin my whole life, and we live. I mean, my dad's probably we're in the middle of a national forest in the sticks, like mile long, 1-lane dirt road that my dad and I used to upkeep with a backhoe and a grader, and I ended up taking it within less than like 5 minutes. Everything was swelling, and the only reason that it triggered to know what was going on was my mom has a penicillin allergy. And so when I was like, my hands and my feet are itching, and my sister's like, shut up and go to bed, it's fine, my mom like comes running out and she's like, wait a minute, and realizes that, my sister was on the phone, so she didn't notice my lips were like huge and all this. And I actually our neighbor showed up with 2 epinephrine shots and hit me in the thigh with and he of course I was mortified because I was 16, and by the time the hot firemen showed up, I'm just vomiting.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, couldn't I have just died? I should have just died.
Right. Hot firemen show up. Oh my God. 16. Yeah.
But so of course, so my mom worked at the hospital and ran into him a couple, like a week later or something, went to thank him. And he's like, I just hope that you realize that your daughter had no radial pulse at all when I got there. Had we waited, had you had to wait, she wouldn't be here, And so it's kind of one of those things that I'm like, I carry an EpiPen, carry an inhaler, they're always on me. Everyone near me is vetting for who gets to be the one that pierces me with them. The guys in Mythbusters all had dibs on it. I was like, but everyone wants to just have someone with an EpiPen. I don't know what's wrong with people.
They all see Pulp Fiction. They think it's something like that.
They do.
It's not right.
You're
That's
get away
too
from my
funny.
chest, please.
But see, you're meant to be here to do great things. So that's just how the purpose was for that. So I'm glad that you're still here. That's very cool. Okay, so then the show is home of the 5 good things, because I always tell everybody, if you're having a bad day or somebody is having a really bad day, if you can get them to tell 5 good things, usually it'll change the perspective.
Absolutely.
So would you be kind enough to give us your 5 good things before we put it to a close?
5 good things that are happening for me, or 5 good things for other people to think about?
No, 5 good things that you're grateful for. Your 5 good things.
Oh, my grateful things.
You can mix it up. You can do whatever you want. You're the guest.
So I love that you do these, because my thing that I try to talk to people about too is that you can find triggers just as easily as you can find glimmers. Mm-hmm. And glimmers are going to be what relights your soul. Yes. And always, if you're ever in need, always reach out to someone. Mm-hmm. Someone loves you and will try to help you through it. But I would say right now I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to be on the Jesse Combs Foundation board. Mm-hmm. I've learned so much through my work with Society of Women Engineers on how to instill these mentorship programs to keep that pipeline alive. That I think now that we have 25 grads that have gotten scholarships.
Wow.
We're to a point where we want to start enabling them to stay connected and to mentor each other. So I'm really excited about the opportunity that's going to bring this year. I'm really grateful for this new shop space that I have, to be able to just really let my imagination run wild. When COVID hit, I lost my maker space. And so it's been 3 years of stagnant creative energy ready to just really burst forth. So I'm grateful to be able to have that. I'm I'm really grateful for the health of my nieces. I have one niece that was born with a congenital heart defect that's had about 13 surgeries, and she's doing really, really well.
Good.
And year that we get with her, we're super excited to see where the next year leads. She is hell on wheels, and she's learning about dirt bikes, and we're trying to be like, how does that work when you have a rib cage that's wired together? Do we let her go? Do we not let her go? So she doesn't take no for an answer. So that's been an incredible journey to watch. I'm really grateful for my fans and followers and friends that, in the maker community, the motor community, everyone that has been there, that has, seen me through everything from shows that have been going well to shows that have failed to, marriages that have failed to everything else. They've really gotten me through in a way that I don't know that they all realize, that they are the lights in my life that keep me waking up each day and getting out of bed. And so I'm really, really grateful for every single one of them. And the fact that Dave and Matt, like literally the second this started, that we were going live and are here is incredible. And thank you guys for being here. They always show up. They're the guys that show up, and I love that because we're the chicks that show up, right? And then,
right.
I'm really grateful to have met you at Sturgis. It was such a random thing to get to sit down with you, and you have been just such a guiding light on who to talk to and how to connect. And
we're gonna make some more good stuff happen for sure.
Heck yeah. I mean, hey, especially now that I'm on the board, let's get you bandanas at all these moto events.
Yes, I'm down with that. I am okay with that. For me, that really, and again, that's that thing. If I can do it the way you do it and teach them one thing about their motorcycle or one thing about, safety check, something, and they can earn it that way, it's even better. So I'm all in on that for sure. And
absolutely.
I honestly can't thank you enough, because it's definitely something that I look forward to spending more time with you. You definitely inspire me all the time. And just the things that you do, I keep an eye. Like I told everybody, your Instagram is at the real Tamara Robertson.
Yes.
So we can Jenny Bass, she loves her Jessie bandana. We all do. Chris Summer Simmons. I mean, it's just like it's we're fortunate to have had such an inspiring young woman to show us that, you can go anywhere and do anything. You just really have to put the effort forward, and follow your dreams. And again, failure is part of it. You learn how to succeed by failing. So, and then the competitive, it's not a competitive edge. It's more like a competitive desire to want to be better at skills and things like that. So that to me just makes me so happy. And Matthew says that he loves you. They love you too. And it's so cool. And I just love that everybody's here. That is so neat. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knows when they see you out at events, to make sure that they stop and share a smile with you, because what you're doing, especially with the children and the young ladies, and just inspiring everybody to be their best self. That's the important part, to be everything that you desire to be, and don't let anything get in your way. And failure is something that happens along the way. And I love that you set them up to psychologically handle that, because again, when we were growing up, everything was all, bubbles and roses, and life isn't like that. And they always, I guess it's hard for people when they fail, they don't realize that you can get back up, dust yourself off, and move on, and you take those lessons and go forward. So I'm so honored to actually be able to call you a friend and a colleague, and I'm excited for some of the partnerships that we're going to put together in the future to help all of that move forward. And anything, I'm in on the magic wheelchair, anything, you name it, you call me. If I can do it, I'm in. I love that stuff. So I'm fantastically happy about that.
We'll do a build. Let's do one.
Oh yeah, anytime you want. I've done live builds. We've choreographed it. We did one on the NBC Today show for our Boys and Girls Club. So I got that. I got that down. We're pretty
That would be
pretty
kind of cool.
good
Do a
at that.
magic wheelchair live build. I like
Oh
that idea.
yeah, that would be really good. I'm in. Just sign me up. You could just sign. So be like, oh, Athena, she's in. We'll make it work. I got it. I got it.
Love
All
it.
right. Well, anything else that you ever want us to post? Oh, go ahead.
I see Michael Jordan has asked if I have a foundation. I would actually say go to the Jesse Combs Foundation. That would be the one I would point you to. We are, now I have to say we instead of they, we are raising funds to put women into the trades. They're incredible. Same, the other two organizations as well are just doing incredible things. But it's to directly impact the moto world and this world that we are all very much into, the Jesse Combs Foundation. They are doing great things with the money that you give.
I love it. I love it. And I'm so grateful to you again. I can't thank you enough for being here. It's just an absolute honor to have you and a joy. As always, your bright, beautiful smile and your dimples. I love your dimples. Yeah. I love it.
You're like so they get cute. Bigger as my face does.
Yeah, I love it. I'm grateful and thankful that you made the time for us, and I know you're very busy. And again, anything I could be of assistance with, in service to whatever you're doing, just don't hesitate to holler.
Yeah, and definitely you've got my number now, so let's keep sharing builds.
Oh, we will. We're gonna make stuff happen. We've got a lot of great people around us, so we can do it. All right. You have a wonderful evening. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you everyone for being here.
And I'll talk to you soon. Yes. Everybody's enjoyed it. So many good comments. So that's awesome. All right, Miss Tamara. And it's at the real Tamara Robertson. You can find her on Instagram. Please follow along. Okay. So you guys know the deal. Usually I do an afterthought, but we're not doing an afterthought because we have so much continual thought of all of that we just took in. Do everything you can to support these organizations. Great women doing great things, and great men who support them. Be supportive. Do everything you can. Remember, I always tell you guys, spread your sunshine even on the rainy days. It's important. And you guys can, 2024 is packed full of great giveaways, events, guests, so much more. Keep watching weekly. We see us out at events. We're going to have some of those Jesse Combs Foundation bandanas. You guys can check out the website, www.athenaafterdark.com. Follow along on Facebook and the IG pages. They're Athena After Dark. They're right there on the screen. Look at Don. He's got it going across the screen. I love it. He's doing so good. I'm so lucky to have him. You're doing a great job, babe. And you guys, thanks for being here every week. I'm so grateful. We have another great guest next week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, support every chance you get. Our sponsors, our friends, and then, again, the great organizations. For a dose of goodwill, you can't go wrong. All right, everybody. Well, I love you all, and thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week. Have a great chopper evening.